I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you. Martin, I can remember when we came to Summer and you were playing fullback up there. And I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you could pick up, you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to recruit you, and I run that 16 pack. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial. You can find us on Facebook Live at Martin Houston Live and Tide 109, as well as on YouTube at Martin Houston Live and at Martin Houston 35 on Twitter. It is a beautiful Friday morning, and it's a day in which the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. It's a free-for-all Friday, so we love to hear from you. Maybe even a little bit of a flashback Friday. May have a couple topics from earlier this week that we didn't get to dig into that you want to bring back up. Please feel free to do so. We love to invite you in to the conversation. So join us on the Taco Casa hotline at 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. The Taco Casa hotline is open for business. All right. Good morning, Joe. How you doing, sir?
Oh, doing great today, Martin. It's finally Friday, so we're looking forward. Man, it's actually going to be a big weekend for Alabama sports, so looking forward to it.
Yeah. Speaking of big weekend and breaks, Michaela kind of made me start thinking how many people feeling the same way she is. It's interesting how as football was winding down, man, I remember being so excited, Joe. Woo, man, we're talking football. We're talking basketball while Alabama is preparing to play for a national title. It don't get no better than this from an Alabama sports fan. And now we got some people saying, hey, man, woo, glad softball getting ready to get going so I don't have to have my blood pressure up and then down and back up and down. Speaking of this basketball team that has proven to be very, very inconsistent. Or let me rephrase that. They have been consistently inconsistent. So it's interesting to see. So we'll talk a little bit about them. And they got a big chance. They got a big time chance tomorrow once again to make people keep saying, hey, this is the team you don't want to play in the tournament. So we'll see if they're able to do that as they play host to the Arkansas Razorbacks, who took down the number one team. We'll talk about that. I'm going to talk probably more NFL today than I generally do, and I'm going to circle back on that. But couple, I guess, good news for a couple guys that may be interested in getting into the coaching ranks is Alabama added two analysts yesterday. LSU, former LSU quarterback Zach Mettenberg, as well as former Alabama walk-on quarterback Braxton Barker, both joining Nick Saban's staff as analysts. So good news for them. Hopefully that works out if that's their goal and their dream to move into the coaching ranks. Joe, did you get a chance to see Brian Harsin up in Auburn? I mean, up in Birmingham?
Him sneaking in the back door of Birmingham and then him kind of circling around some cars and getting away. So I did see those two videos, but obviously he's not really given much in those two clips.
Yes. Hey, now let me ask you a question, Joe. Is Auburn embarrassing themselves trying to throw out their policy about how they make coaches work or employees work with any type of investigation or inquiry into a person's employment when we know that 2 years ago Bruce Pearls flat out told them, "I'm not talking to you," and they did nothing?
I think I think Auburn's embarrassing themselves in many ways in the last 2 weeks, and that's just another layer. Uh, it's just they've just created a situation it's really hard, hard for anyone to want to walk into. But you implement this policy earlier in the week, basically as a way to get your football coach to cooperate or allow you to not pay him. It's very skeezy. It seems it really seems like Auburn's true nature is kind of coming out and showing itself over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, because correct me if I'm wrong. Did Bruce Pearl not lawyer up and flat out say, "No, I'm not talking to anybody"?
Well, that was definitely Will Wade did that at LSU.
I know.
I'm not sure about
Bruce Pearl, yeah, Bruce Pearl just flat out wouldn't talk to him. Because he's like, I'm not gonna implicate myself to you or anyone else. And so it's kind of crazy because when that was going on, and that, hey, because that's kind of what you do is is you just don't say anything. Um, and I think that coaches are figuring that out, whether it's at the university or at the NCAA. You just kind of don't talk, and you let them run their little course and let media run its little course, and then it goes by the wayside. So it's going to be interesting to see um, if Brian Harsin survives or not. And yesterday we had, I think it was Curtis Moore said, "Why would you stay? Why would you fight to stay where you're not wanted?" Um, and I quickly ran through that response, but since it's a flashback free for all Friday, hey guys, y'all need to understand that dude's not fighting for his job at Auburn. He's fighting for his coaching career. I mean, if he did not sleep with an intern and he lets Auburn brand him with that, he where does he go from here? You see what I'm saying, Joe? I mean, if they are able to get rid of him under a label of he had inappropriate relationships with the intern, secretary, whatever, someone that was under his reporting structure, that doesn't go away. That does not only does it not go away publicly and in terms of jobs, that also is in his family, you know. And so if he didn't do it, he has to fight um, to stay. And the other part is, if you're trying to negotiate a buyout, you want to make them suffer, and you want to make them fight and make them pay you as much as you can. Any thoughts in terms of why this guy's fighting so hard?
You're exactly right. This is a much larger than just coaching at Auburn. On the baseline level, you want to get that $18 million,
Right.
if you're not coaching again, if this is going to ruin your coaching career, as you said and are correct, it could, absolutely could. Then you better get that last paycheck.
That's right. Yeah, you look at it. So this guy, first of all, that's why he's fighting. Number two is, if I'm looking and he proves to not have done this, if I'm hiring him, that's another thing that I put to his advantage. Is this guy's gonna fight for what's right? And some weak leaders are afraid of that. But there's probably some schools out there, Joe, some administrators out there that they want a Brian Harsin, or they want, let me say it this way, Alabama wanted and needed Nick Saban because the alumni and some of the Coach Bryant alums, they were in the program, and it was not going to get better. And the administration couldn't come out and say, "Hey, y'all alumni, y'all get out of the kitchen. Go back and sit down, and when we get through cooking the food with our coaches and our athletic director, then you come back." They couldn't say that, right? They needed a coach who would come in and say, "This is the way it's going to be," and and that's what Coach Saban did. And when he got things in order in terms of who was driving the direction of the program, and then he still had the support of the former players, the alumni and the administration, the students, got everybody in line. It worked. So that Brian Harsin is showing I'm willing to go against all of those alumni. So even though we may think it's a bad thing, if he comes through this and leaves, there's probably some school out there that's like Auburn that has too many cooks in the kitchen that's saying, hey, he may be the guy. What? Hey, let me ask you this, Joe. What if that's why they brought Brian Harsin in?
Well,
What
Martin,
if they brought him in to fight because he was willing to stand up to those people?
that's what I don't understand, Martin, and that's what's made it so difficult for me to wrap my brain around this whole situation. Is it seems like Brian Harsin, it seems like Auburn has gone through the hard work, the hard part of rooting out 20 guys in the program, kind of rooting out a bunch of getting a bunch of assistants out, ticking off a bunch of the boosters, and kind of isolating the football. It seems like the hard work is already and the Auburn people, or I guess the powers that be, per se, aren't happy with the results, but can't see that they might be like right on the other side.
Yes.
Build it down before you got to break it down before you build it back up. And they see all the rubble because it's been torn down, and they think, oh my gosh, it'll never get built back up. And I think they're jumping the gun with all this stuff.
Yeah, and not I know, playing a game, Joe, in no way is as serious as cancer. So, I hope no one thinks that's what I'm saying. But what Brian Harsin is going through is no different than a person finding out they have cancer and going through the treatment process and then getting all the way to the other side and then going, I don't know if the treatment process worked. I don't know that, but you have to, if you're going to treat cancer, there's a couple things you try to do. You try to get the tumor out, and then you do the horrible, nasty treatment, as you said, of treating the cancer through different types of radiation and chemo, etc. And that's ugly and it's nasty, but it's required if a person is going to overcome cancer. And Auburn had a cancer. I mean, let's just be honest. Auburn football, and sometimes success, a periodic success. There's a reason, Joe, that your team is number one or in the top five one year, and then they're a losing season or just barely above 500 the next year, and then 2 or 3 years later they're fighting for it again, and then for the next 2 or 3 years they're not. That is systemic problem that is preventing somebody. Either you can't figure out how to hire a coach who knows how to build a program, or you have too many cooks in the kitchen that keep making it go that way. Speaking of, if they get rid of Brian Harsin, where do they go? We'll get that. We'll get to that conversation on the other side. Also, I promised I was going to talk a little NFL, so we'll get to that. And Bama taking on Arkansas. All of that conversation, we can talk about it. This is the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. Tom, stay tuned. We'll get you on the other side coming out of the break.
100.9 traffic.
The folks at the Rustic Rehab are getting the store ready for Valentine's Day and spring. They have something new coming in every day, like these large tea towels. They can be customized. They're really sharp. New Dixie Belle paint products. Cindy Moore designed earrings. Lots of things for the home. Lots of things to decorate. You've got to go see it. It's the Rustic Rehab, Highway 69, halfway between McFarland and Union Chapel on the left. From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, we have an overturned vehicle at the exit ramp off 359 southbound onto 2059 westbound with emergency personnel on the scene. You can expect some delays there. McFarland, westbound, very heavy from Rice Mine to 69. If you see other conditions, please give me a call, 205-886-8886. Get a sweetheart of a deal right now at your hometown dealer, Townsend Nissan of Tuscaloosa. An amazing selection, low finance rates, and they want your trade. Go see them. I'm Captain Ray.
Are you receiving unemployment? Your benefits could be at risk. Here's how you can protect yourself and your benefits. Never respond to mail notifying you of a false claim in your name. Never answer a text message asking you to verify your account. And only respond to official Alabama Department of Labor's social media pages. Report fraud at labor.alabama.gov/fraud. Brought to you by the Alabama Department of Labor, ADA, and the station. The Alabama Department of Labor's Equal Opportunity Employer Program. Auxiliary aids and services available upon request to individuals with disabilities. Dial 711 for TTY accessibility.
Tuscaloosa Gunsmith does gun repair, modifications, cleaning, Cerakoting, and laser engraving for guns, and they sell Black Rifle coffee. Tuscaloosa Gunsmith, just off 15th Street behind the fire station.
Work is a part of all of us. Working drives us to push beyond what we thought was imaginable and allows us to come together again for the things that really matter. That's why the Alabama Department of Labor and the Alabama Career Center system is here to help you discover bigger opportunities than ever before. Visit your local career center or alabamaworks.alabama.gov. Funding provided by the USDOL, PTA, and Federal WIOA, the Equal Opportunity Employer Program. Auxiliary aids and services available upon request. Brought to you by this station and the Alabama Broadcasters Association.
You know what happens in a plasma chamber?
Big stuff. Science stuff.
Diamonds. I'm Tom Osmond. Fincher and Osmond Jewelers carries artisan-created diamonds.
Earth and human safe.
And bigger. Lots bigger.
Fincher and Osmond diamonds from the mines or artisan-created diamonds.
They're all diamonds.
If you want to give her the big stuff, you've got to see these diamonds.
FincherandOsmond.com, a little tricky to find on McFarland Boulevard between Edgar's and Local Roots.
Tide 100.9, Tuscaloosa weather.
Another nice warm-up today. Lots of sunshine with a spring-like afternoon, the high at 70. For tonight, mostly fair with the low at 43. Turning colder tomorrow, becoming cloudy. The high tomorrow in the 50s. And on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 38 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Sophomart Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at softmarkdesign.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Woo! Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. The Taco Casa hotline is open for business, 205-342-9904. Taco Casa, quality, taste, value, and the biggest cactus in town. Go check them out as your choice for lunch and or dinner. They'll be there to serve you. That's Taco Casa, tacocasa.com. Speaking of the Taco Casa hotline, we got Tom. Tom, you're in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, sir?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Great. You know, the thing with Auburn that you were talking about, the more this goes on, and the more you read into it, and see all the different stuff that comes out. And but you know, my take is, I think Alan Green got the job at Auburn, and he tried to push the brand from his end by being in attendance of all kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden you see Alan Green go silent. And I think that he was told that, you know, we really don't need you to make any decisions. We'll do that for you. And I think that started the power struggle between the athletic department and the boosters, and probably Alan Green saw what that department needed, and he went and hired somebody like Brian Parsons to come in with a no-nonsense attitude and so forth and so on. And I think what we're witnessing is a huge power struggle. Now, Alan Green's on the tail end of his contract. He's probably not going to get renewed. But I think there's some egos. That sounds funny. among these boosters against Allen Green. I think there's some ego amongst the boosters against each other. And that's why you're seeing so many things go in different ways. But the fact of the matter is, there's a group of people down there telling Allen Green and Brian Hartson, we're going to do this our way. We've been doing it for 100 years. We win 1 year, we lose 1 year. But that's us. And you know what? You can get with a program or not, but you're not going to come in here and run everybody off, and you're not going to make our kids mad. You see where I'm going with this, Mark?
Yeah, the problem is when there's an all-out power struggle, it's one thing when all of those alumnus are on the same side, Tom. It's a lot easier to do that when there's no power struggle among who's going to be the power broker amongst the boosters. All right. And when you don't have an athletic director that pushes back, and you don't have a coach that pushes back, it's easy for those guys to get on the same page, right?
Right.
In other words, they kind of flush themselves out, and say a person A is the power broker and he has the most influence, and there's no athletic director that's willing to stand up to him. There's no coach willing to stand up to him, no administration willing to stand up to him. Then he can get everybody else in line, right? Because
Well, yeah, sometimes.
no, I'm saying no, really. Think about this. If if um if you have a coach who is in the position of authority, and he's doing everything right, and he's getting what he wants, then everybody else kind of falls in line. But if that coach fools around and messes up, Tom, and is not in a position of authority, or other coaches start pushing back against him and shows that there's a little chink in the armor, then other coaches will speak up, right? Yeah. Well, what happened with Auburn was they went out and hired Green, I think, thinking that they would have somebody that would do what they say.
Right.
And so when they hired him, he showed, well, I'm not going to just do what you say, okay? And once he did that, now there appears to be a need to start going, okay, because Allen now, Green, the AD, he may say and do something that gets Booster B, who likes what he does, right?
Right.
But Booster A is the power broker. Now you got what? Now you got A wanting his way and B going, hey, I got an AD that's going to support me. And then now they start battling each other, and now they're divided because one has, and then you bring in another chip that's like Harsin, and now all of a sudden they're battling at the top over who's going to get their way because one of them likes Green, one of them wants his own way, and one of them like Harsin, and the three of them don't agree. And that's what you see at Auburn is somebody, one of those alumni that realized that Harsin wasn't going to play ball is the one that started a lot of this.
Well, could be. I'll say this, though. I view that booster group down there. And they look, they're powerful. They've been successful in the past. I mean, you can't take that away from them. And, their formula worked under Pat Dye and then a few times after that. And they were able to encourage Cam Newton to be a great quarterback and come to Auburn. And some of their stuff has worked. Like, you got to give them credit.
But it builds a great team, Tom. It never builds a program. It never builds a program.
But that's what I'm saying. They think that formula they got will build a program. It won't. But the fact of the matter is, when Allen Green, Auburn's noted for veterinary science, and Allen Green, when he got real, full of himself and was going to make some changes and things like that, they just carried him right over to the vet school and said, "Hey, look at here, we're going to neuter you, and, so you won't be getting in our business." But the thing about those boosters down there they can say bad stuff and fight each other, but an outside of saying things, they unify and they'll get rid of it. And I think that's what's going on.
Hey Tom, I ran for mayor this last time, and I had a person talk to me who thought that that they carry some influence. And when I told them I'm going to do what I think is right, I had people get mad at me because they said, "Do you not know who your top donors are?" I said, "No, and I don't care. I don't care who my top donor is." And they were like, "Why? Why don't you care?" I said, "Because if I care about who my top donor is, that means that their money buys influence." And I said, if somebody gives me $1 or somebody gives me $10,000, if I don't know who gave the 10 versus who gave the 1, then hey, I'm not going to be judging and ruling based off of. Now that doesn't mean that I don't build relationships with the guy who gave the 10,000, and then I don't build relationship, but the money was not going to be the influencer on why I did it. It was going to be the relationship and what came out of it, and that's what you have that I think some people have built relationships and they have as much influence with Green as the people who've given the money.
Exactly. And the thing about it is, you listen to the $1 donor, and you listen to the $10,000 donor.
Because that $1 donor might have some ideas that helps you make. Yeah, there you go.
But on top of that, Mark, what they need to know, and I think that this should be a characteristic that people admire and those that want to contribute and lead is, no matter what happens, I'm going to do what my moral compass says is right.
Right.
And no matter what your money is or anybody else's, that's what I'm going to do. Now, if you're for somebody like that, then donate.
Yeah, that's right.
Not, don't.
That's right. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate you, sir.
Yeah,
all right. Is Auburn doing things that's going to absolutely ruin this program? CJ Watson said, "I almost feel bad for Auburn fans. Auburn is making it hard to hire a quality coach. Auburn is making rules effective immediately in order to possibly fire a coach with cause to not pay a buyout. Not a great message to send to potential coaching candidates or your current coach who isn't going to back down. It's a complete dumpster fire." Auburn, I mean, that's really amazing that they're doing this. But Joe, where do they? Okay, let's say Harsin, they work it out, and are there some guys out there that's going to excitedly take this job? Where does Auburn go from here if Harsin is let go?
Well, that's the $1 million question, Martin, and I think part of the reason why he hasn't been fired yet is I don't know that Auburn has a good answer for who they want to hire next. I've heard so many different names. I've heard the biggest main name is Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze, and then you hear Will Muschamp, you hear Jeff Grimes, just a lot of different names, but I don't really know who they're going to be able to. I don't really think any of those are very realistic, and really outside of Hugh Freeze, are any of them a big upgrade on Brian Harsin?
Yeah, so that's the thing is, where do you go? You're gonna either do some recycle with the likes of some of the guys, Kevin Steele, former assistant, Muschamp, former assistant. Muschamp has had several lead programs and has not proven to me that he's a good head coach. Hugh Freeze was successful at Ole Miss, but we know why he was successful at Ole Miss. Coming off of what Auburn is coming off of, do you bring a guy in like that? Maybe he's learned over at Liberty, maybe not. Then you're seeing, Lane Kiffin. Is he truly a possibility to leave? Where they should have gone the last time, and they would have got a great coach, but not a big name. Bill Clark, I heard his name being thrown out from UAB. The guy has done nothing except for build powerhouse programs.
Martin, you need to not be mentioning that name too much.
Why is that?
Because that's the one name that Alabama fans that might be able to shake things up and get it right.
Yeah, the guy has done nothing but build program at the high school level. He built a program that was able to from at his days at Prattville. Joe, he went from Prattville to build a program that competed against the likes of the mighty Hoover, and then he goes to Jacksonville, does that. Then what he's done at UAB is just absolutely amazing to me, and that may be where they're putting themselves into a whole. Let me ask you this, Joe. This is conspiracy theory stuff for sure, right here. Is it possible that they're making it such a dumpster fire that the Auburn fans will be glad to get Bill Clark?
Well, they should be glad to get Bill Clark either way.
I know.
In a win. That Joe would come in, clean it up, and he'd probably do the same thing that Brian Harsin was doing, implementing a lot of discipline and getting his culture in. The difference is, I think he understands the Southern relationships and understands recruiting, and especially with this next year's Alabama recruiting class, the state of Alabama in 2023 is loaded with talent.
Yes.
So, oh gosh, Martin, that's the one name we can't have
and
down to the plane.
And who has the best relationship with high school coaches of any coach in the state of Alabama? you have to think that he is probably tight with the majority of the high school coaches, having been amongst their rank, having stayed close and took a lot of their players at Jacksonville and UAB. So he's worked the state of Alabama. So yeah, you're right. Hey, but I did go back and look up, Joe, the Chicago Tribune, ESPN.com, and Yahoo.com, all having articles. Bruce Pearl's job in jeopardy if he doesn't cooperate. Just the headline that you read from the Chicago Tribune says Auburn has told Bruce Pearl that if he does not cooperate with an internal investigation into basketball program, he risks being fired. so he told me I ain't talking to y'all. And they didn't do anything. And now they're trying to get out of this buyout. And remember what Bruce Pearl was being investigated for. It was bribery and people going to jail and all of that. But they're going to get rid of this guy. So, like I said, they may be trying to create such a mess that they go, well, we couldn't get anybody else, Joe. And they know that they probably should have hired Bill Clark to begin with. So who knows? CJ Watt said Muschamp is making millions from USC, South Carolina, and maybe still from Florida. Why would he even entertain going to Auburn? He's chilling at Georgia, making huge buyout money as an assistant. I'd ride that train. But that's not the way coaches are built. That's not the way former athletes are built. There's some coaches maybe looking at this job as such a challenge that they want to come in and try to fix it and prove that they can do it. So, Alabama was not necessarily a great place when Nick Saban came, and that's why some people say it was so hard to find someone, Joe. Is everybody forgets that we were kind of a laughing stock there for a while. And thanks to Miss Terry, we look like we're brilliant. And I will say that Mal Moore hung out and stayed there and camped out till he could get his man. But I think, Joe, I think sometimes we forget just how much of a laughing stock we were, and we weren't even in the news like this. Could you imagine what that story would have been like in today's culture? You know what I mean? Like go back 15.
Martin Ryan's been saying all week that 2005, 6, 7, Alabama was right in the same boat, and I don't know if it was quite as bad as it is right now at Auburn.
It wouldn't be. It wasn't quite. But Joe, maybe we would have found out even a lot more back then if we'd had so much more media and quick access and stories breaking and stories being made up. But yeah, you have to understand. At one point we had a coach who never coached a game. I mean, pretty embarrassing things, and I think we sometimes forget it. But hey, Coach Saban was willing to come take the challenge here, and who knows? Bill Clark could be their Coach Saban, or someone could. We'll see what they do. But anyway, we'll transition on the other side of the break. Talk a little NFL, a couple of highlights and players from Alabama in the news, players from Alabama in the Super Bowl. We'll talk about that and more. Thanks to the great folks at Alabama One. Alabama One don't forget to go check them out for great promotions. Stop the impact of interest rates. And we know that the interest rates are about to do some damage to our financial wallets as they're looking to raise the interest rates. But hey, you can slow down the interest rates by getting the Alabama One credit card. And all you need to do is visit us at alabama1.org, and you can get 0 annual fees, 0 APR for 6 months, and then 7.99 to 17.99 after that. 0 balance transfer fee. So you bring over that big balance from that other credit card, we're not going to charge you anything to do that. And then we offer great cash back rewards. And while you're there, also check out the home equity line of credit promotion as well. No origination fees. Our closing costs up to 100% finance and prime minus 0.25 rates as low as 3%. That's on the home equity line. Slow down your interest rates right now.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no problems, no wrecks, and no delays on this Friday morning as we get started. Lots going on at the university this weekend. We'll talk about that later this morning. If you see conditions, give me a call. Get a sweetheart of a deal right now at your hometown dealer, Townsend Nissan of Tuscaloosa. An amazing selection, low finance rates, and they want your trade. Go see them. I'm Captain Ray.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard right next door to Alabama One, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
Tuscaloosa Tire and Service, they've got the big brands you know and trust. Goodyear, Firestone, Bridgestone, Cooper, and they can finance for you as well. When you need routine maintenance and alignment, a tune-up, whatever it is, belts, hoses, just basic stuff, or when you don't know what's wrong with your car, truck, or SUV, make it Tuscaloosa Tire and Service. They're dependable, they're trustworthy. That's why they've lasted for over 36 years. Skyland Boulevard, McFarland Boulevard East in Northport on Lurleen Wallace Boulevard. Check out the website, TuscaloosaTireandService.com.
Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our pep talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com. That's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back in to the Martin Houston Show on a free-for-all Friday. Phone lines are open, 205-342-9904. Overflow Express Wash. Go check them out. They keep your car clean inside and out. Locations in Northport and Tuscaloosa to better serve you. Andy Phillips and his team have done a great job building a great place, a great environment, and will keep you looking good as you travel down the streets and highways of Tuscaloosa and West Alabama. That's Overflow Express Wash, overflowexpresswash.com. Hey, if anybody got had a problem with name, image, and likeness, and these players getting paid, I got 3 numbers for you: 5, 4, 6. What is that? $54.6 million, Joe, just split by the SEC amongst member schools. $54.6 million. This is on top of the $23 million bailout that the SEC gave each school back in May. And oh, yeah, by the way, that's for the 2020-2021 season when supposedly COVID did its thing to us once again. So go figure, huh? Yep. Anybody got a problem with that? I hope not. I hope not. Make all the money you can, but let the players make theirs too. That's all I have to say on that. All right, coming back, we got Pat, who's been holding. Pat, you're in with the Martin Hughes Show. What's on your mind, sir?
Hey, this Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde basketball team. How do you shoot 63% from beyond the arc? Oh my goodness.
They
they might can play with Michael Jordan for a few minutes.
Hey, the Ole Miss plays zone, and they backed off of them, and they knocked it down. Thus, to the point of the people who say maybe if you don't drive all the way to the goal, maybe if you start knocking down some of those, 12 to 15-foot shots, maybe it'll make the other defense play you a little different. But if you just jack up threes and your threes are not falling and you pack down, they're running Bama off the 3-point line. They're forcing Bama to pat. What they're doing is they're forcing people Bama don't want to take the shots. They're forcing Gary and Rojas and Gurley to be the primary threes, but when Shackelford's rolling and everybody and they're moving that ball and guys are getting open around the 3 and it's just not drive and kick threes, they're a pretty good basketball team.
Oh yeah, it's been that was fun to watch, and
Yeah.
It just shows that they could be a very scary team,
Mm-hmm.
and they could make an Elite 8 run.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well,
just absolutely crazy.
I want to see them do 3 or 4 games in a row in the regular season before I say that they can do it. I've not seen them play since Gonzaga. I've not seen them play more than 2 good games in a row. So you can't make a run unless you can string together 3, 4, 5 games in a row. And they haven't shown they can do that. I would like to see them do it before they even go into the tournament. So to the SEC, I'm talking about the SEC tournament. I'd like to see them, like if they can beat Arkansas tomorrow and then turn around and beat Mississippi State. Now all of a sudden you're feeling a little bit better because that would be 3, not necessarily great teams, but at least be 3 consecutive games where you played well. So we'll see. You got
pretty good teams.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is that tomorrow morning is going to be a fantastic challenge. How do you get anybody up? Both teams have got a challenge to get these players up to be prepared for an 11 a.m. tip.
Wow. Well, actually, if they're like me, Pat, man, I love the early games on a Saturday, man. I mean, it was nothing. Only thing I hated about the early games on Saturday, remember the Jefferson Pilot games?
Oh, yes, sir.
The only reason I hated those games was the sun was out. But just as far as waking up, you go to bed, mentally preparing for the game. You wake up the next morning, you eat breakfast, you get dressed, you go through the pregame meetings, and boom, you're at the stadium and you're mentally ready to play. So hopefully they're like I was, that they actually like playing early from the Bama side. It can be different for the Arkansas guys because they're having to travel and in a different strange room and etc. That can cause problems. But Players, a lot of players like playing early versus having to watch everybody else play, think about the game all day, try to stay focused and all of that. And the coaches love it because they don't have to, not trying to be ugly, babysit all day and make sure nobody does anything stupid. So, all right, Pat, appreciate you, man.
Thanks. All right, have a blessed one, Mr. Houston.
You too. All right, Robert from Mobile, you in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, sir?
Hey, man.
Hey, no.
Yeah, I like those games. I like watching the Jefferson Pilot games. I sure miss them.
Yeah,
watching them this Saturday morning.
They were fun.
Yeah, and I was like you. I like watching Alabama play early, so now I can relax and so you some body that they're obviously going to be.
The only time it's bad as a fan is if Alabama loses. You have to spend the rest of the day. You have to spend the rest of the day hoping everybody else loses. But if Alabama wins, it makes watching football on Saturday a lot easier.
Oh yeah, well, I've never seen them lose Jefferson Pilot games.
Yeah, that's true. We don't lose many at all now, but
no. Hey, I haven't been able to listen to your show much last couple of weeks. So I have not heard anything you said about Auburn and Brian Harson's situation. So can you catch me up a bit on what you think?
Yeah. I we talked a little bit about it today. Is Robert, is Auburn, first of all, they've created a mess, and I think they thought they had something on the affair. I think and then they I think they dropped that story, and then it had no legs, and they're trying to get rid of this guy without having to do a buyout. Okay, they're trying to. That's why they implemented this policy. If you don't cooperate, then you're breaking the contract as an employee. You're violating your contract. So they're trying to do everything they can to not do a buyout. I think that's part of the what's going on. I think that Brian Harsin has stood up to the powers that be and told them he's going to run this program, and that there's too many cooks in the kitchen, and they need to get out of the way and let him run his program. And that's part of what's the problem with Auburn. And he's refusing to back down. And he's gonna make them pay out, or he's gonna end up being the coach at least for one more year, and then he saves his reputation and his coaching career moving forward. And there may be some type of buyout after next year where he has a legit shot to go job hunting. Because you think about if he loses his job here, where does he go? He has to sit out a year of coaching somewhere. So he's fighting. And then Joe and I were talking earlier, and I made the statement: are they trying to make it such a dumpster fire that when they go hire Bill Clark, they can tell Auburn fans, even though he's the right guy for the job, they know that it's seen as looking down. And man, you got to go get Bill Clark from UAB when Alabama could go get Nick Saban, that type of thing. Well, when you create such a dumpster fire, you say, man, this is the only guy we could get. And so then everybody accepts him, and that's who they really want. But, that's who they probably should have hired when they hired Harsin, to be honest with you. So that was a quick synopsis of it. But they have a dumpster fire there that they've created. And I think like I said, I think they created it to try to get rid of their coach and go in a different direction. Too many. He's standing up to him, Robert, and that's what the problem is.
Do they not realize? They want to be like Alabama. They need to learn from Alabama. Alabama's, to bring back bad memories before Nick Saban.
Yeah.
We were one more bad hire away from turning into Tennessee.
Yeah.
For the next for a decade.
Oh,
we were turning into Tennessee.
If we had not got the right coach when they got rid of Shula, we would have. I mean, you have to understand, Alabama had one title for 30 years. One. For 30 years.
Exactly. It was, that we would have gone from, one of the premier programs to at least USC.
Yeah.
after one more bad hire. And because of the boosters wouldn't let the guy do his job the way he wanted to do it. And I know it's hard for these folks to give money and stay out of it. I'd have a hard time giving a bunch of money and not voicing opinions. Yeah, I understand that. But just because you can voice an opinion doesn't make your opinion right. You got to understand when you need to shut up and let the person run it.
Yeah. Voice your opinion to yourself. I'll let you.
Organization to them, okay, but when they don't
You
see
you
it,
you can give money to build facilities, but you can't give money to run a program, a football program or whatever. So, hey, I got to get the break here. Well, actually, I guess we need to go straight through, Joe. Let's go straight through, but I got to get to another call. You got anything else before I let you go, Robert?
oh no, it's okay. I just wanted to catch up and
Yeah.
see what your take was.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Harsin. It's going to be, it's going to be a dumpster fire if he stays, and it's a maybe even a bigger dumpster fire. I think the reason they hadn't just went ahead and pulled the trigger as well is because they can't get anybody to agree to come yet. So, you don't. In this case, you don't want to fire the coach after what you've done unless you got a coach already agreed in principle, and I don't think they have that yet.
Embarrassing now. It's more embarrassing now that school managed to get those lucky wins in on next day. It just.
All right, man. Have a good one. Hey, let's go to Gary from Ohio. You're in with the Martin Hughes Show. What's on your mind, sir?
Hey, Martin, how you doing, my man?
Doing great. You?
Great, thank you. I think Auburn's just trying to throw stuff against the wall and see what sticks against, the coach,
Yes.
See if they'll, get him to back down or whatever. But they think as much crap as they throw, they feel like they can, maybe they're not going to get out of hand.
Yeah.
He has an agent that's representing that, but they're hoping they can get him the agent to drop their amount down. But I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a nightmare.
They're trying everything they can to they're trying to knock off as many $1 million of that buy as they can. But also, like I said, I think their problem is I don't think they've secured anybody on the other side yet. And in this situation, at this point in the season, you don't do they have a defensive and an offensive coordinator back yet?
No, they don't have one.
That's what I'm saying is so
or defensive coordinator.
So
they just got a hot mess going on down there, no doubt.
So let's say Harsin stays. What experienced DC is going there unless they're out of a job right now? What experienced OC is going there unless they're out of a job right now?
Right, I wouldn't want to go there. How you gonna look these people in the face when you think they just backstabbed the other one in the face?
That's right. So they got a mess on their hands. So
let me ask you a quick question. What do you think? How many out of the top 7 kids in the state of Alabama? How many you think Alabama's going to sign in? How many out of the 7 Alabama's going to want?
Well,
there are a lot of them are defensive ends and defensive tackles, and we need every one of them. I think.
Yeah. Well, based on what
the offensive lineman.
Yeah, based on what Hank said yesterday, any of the top 7 to 10 guys, barring part of it depends on how guys kind of progress in the spring, from a defensive line standpoint, so if they come along as expected and all of that, it may make Alabama not want as many, but just on pure talent and ranking and ability, I think Alabama take all of them if they're available.
To make the team more homegrown and make it a stronger team in the end.
Well, I think that's why Auburn. I think that's why Auburn manages to win. I think that, and I know this may sound bad to people. I think the Iron Bowl really does. You know how the SEC say it just means more. I think the Iron Bowl really does mean more to Alabama. I mean to Auburn than Alabama as a whole.
I agree.
Because they have more homegrown guys that understand the true hatred of Alabama and Auburn. And Alabama, hey, I'm not saying go back to what it used to be because I enjoy the way Alabama wins. But with that said, it is definitely to Auburn's favor that they get so many in-state guys that understands the rivalry itself. Hey, Gary, you got anything else for? I got to get ready to get out of here a little early this morning.
I would say this about Auburn. I know they consider themselves to be a top 10 team, but the history bears out that Phil Jordan was only 67% winning coach. Bear Bryant was an 80, and Nick Saban is in the 80, almost 90. So where do they think they get out thinking that they're definitely a top 25, but not a top 10, baby?
All right. Thanks, Gary. Roll Tide, man. All right. Hey, good luck to the Alabama guys, Jonah Williams, Ashawn Robinson, Damian Square, Terrell Lewis. If I missed any other Alabama guys on the roster, good luck to them in Sunday's Super Bowl. I think the Rams take care of business. Jonah Williams will play a big role in whether or not they're able to protect Joe Burrows. I just don't think he can do it by himself. Look for the Rams to win a Super Bowl for the second year in a row on their home field. Only 2 times it's ever been possible. I think both times the home team hosting the Super Bowl wins. I got the Rams by a couple scores over the Cincinnati Bengals. We'll continue to talk more football, more sports. Bama takes down Arkansas and wins 2 in a row at home. Let's go. Roll Tide. Hey, thanks, callers, listeners, viewers, and chatters. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, everyone that helps make this possible. Remember this, trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Roll Tide, guys.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9.
You too, Joe. Have a good one.
Tide 100.9 app.